and Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Hello and welcome to Across the Niger Delta, the weekend edition of Niger Delta Today. On the program, we'll take a look at the transformative innovations taking place across the region, from youth empowerment, sports, and entertainment. We'll also showcase the progress, cultural activities, and rich lifestyle of the region's people. I am your host, Aberu Swogene Ebo. To stay with us.
On this edition, House of Representatives advances bill to establish Petroleum Training Institute in Akwa Ibom community. Obong of Calabar Edidem Abbasio II the Fifth urges federal government to expedite Calabar-Lagos Highway project through engagement of multiple contractors. Rivers community celebrates Niger Delta Development Commission's solar-powered street lights initiative. Ijo Group demands military withdrawal from Bayelsa community. In sports, Federal University of Technology Ikot Abasi holds first edition of Vice Chancellor's Cup. And on the big story, the commissioning of major projects by the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umoino, as part of activities to mark the first-year anniversary of his administration.
On the program, we'll begin by taking you through some of our major stories for the week. Let's start with the one where we had a look at the role and function of the Braced Commission in the Niger Delta region, consisting of 6 states of the South-South, that is, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, and Delta, which was established in 2010 under the Article 14 of the Braced Agreement and signed on June 13, 2011. Its objective is to promote economic cooperation and regional integration among the 6 states, contributing to the increased standard of living of the Niger Delta people. In an exclusive interview, Director General of the Braced Commission, Ambassador Joe Keshi, shed more light on the recent activities of the Braced Commission and its impact on the oil-rich region.
Today we're addressing the issue of the Braced Commission, its roles and its functions, and hopefully its future relevance as it works hand in hand with the NDDC to make sure that people in the Niger Delta region are getting what they need. Well, today my guest is Ambassador Joe Keshi. He is the DG Braced Commission. Very good to have you today, sir.
Thank you. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, sir. So could you talk to us about the Braced Commissions, its roles and its functions in the Niger Delta region today?
Yeah. First, the Braced Commission, first, the word Braced itself is an acronym of the 6 core Niger Delta states of Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, your state, Cross River State, Edo, and Delta states. It came about, the commission itself came about as a result of the first South-South Economic Summit that took place in Calabar in 2009, and where the whole idea was, where it was decided that in order to forge economic cooperation and integration among the 6 South-South states, that there was a need to create a commission to drive the process. So here we are trying to drive the process of economic cooperation and integration. The whole idea is to, when you get involved in trying to build economic cooperation and integration of 6 states, you are actually trying to to pull the states together to build a far more larger economy than individual states, building their own economy. When you look at it from the population point of view, I think the biggest state there is Rivers State, with a population about 5 million. Now, in other words, when an investor is looking at Rivers State, it's only seeing, the question is, how do I deal? I mean, will I be able to do a lot, or how would I recoup my investment with a population of 5 million, of which probably the working population in that place is probably less than 2 or so million. But when you pull the whole of the South states together, you are looking at something over 20 to 27 million population. For any investor, that is heaven. So when you pull your economy together, as ECOWAS is trying to do, and by the way, as the European Union has done successfully, you are creating a very large market that has or economy that has the capacity to create employment and to create wealth for the people of the region. This is essentially what we're trying to do, and to ensure that the region itself can become globally competitive. And now when I talk of this global competitiveness, I always remind people that if you look at California in the United States, if California was a state of its own, was a country on its own, California would probably be the 7th or the 8th largest economy in the world. Just California, the home of Silicon Valley. It will be the 7th or the 8th largest economy in the world. So we are also trying to say within the Federal Republic of Nigeria that we could actually do the same thing by ensuring that we have a large economy that is globally competitive. And to be able to do this, it now means that we have to build up our economy, we have to develop our human capital. And by the way, this weekend on Thursday, we're having a meeting of commissioners of education, science, and technology. And the whole idea is to see how we can forge cooperation in education to accelerate the growth. To rebuild education. If you look at recent reports, and if you were listening to, I think it was JAM, presenting the report of the last examination, nobody should tell you that in terms of education, collectively, this country is in crisis. But what we're looking at, or we're trying to look at in the South-South Brace Commission, is to see how we can address the challenges facing education collectively in the region and ensure that we begin to use science and technology to drive our educational development. And as you are aware, when you look at the 11 or 17 SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, the first item on that is education, the second is health. These are what we call the triggers of development. If you provide quality education, if you have an educated population, a knowledgeable population, you will see how well your economy and the society itself will begin to do. So this is essentially what we're trying to do. So we eventually deal with all issues that are relative to economic development, which of course means that, to your question of NDDC, we are obligated, also to join hands with NDDC for the development of the country. But while they are related to the core Niger Delta, and there is, the issue of development as well, as is pulling the states together to act as one body with shared future for the people of the region. It's like that. It is because the banks have invested a lot in the technology. But the technology is also very expensive for them. The question we should always ask ourselves, not just in the Niger Delta, but in this one, how long are we going to continue to wait and depend on the rest of the world to discover something? And then we begin to use it. Check out virtually everything apart from the food we grow. Every other thing we do in this country, even if you look at my house here, you can see, tell me which are the things that we're producing in this country.
So heading back to the Braced Commission now, the governors, what key role do they play in?
Oh, they are the head of the organization, and they have the biggest role to ensure that the objectives of the commission are accomplished. We are just a secretariat that provides the groundwork. But at the end of the day, the decisions they make, the implementation in their respective states, is what matters most. Before
we let you go, what does the future of the Braced Commission look like? You just started, and I'm sure that there are plans put in place to make sure it stays long.
I think it's, look, it will again depend on the understanding of the leaders, the governors. If they decide they want to make it work, and they can, it will work. It will achieve its objectives. Look, every organization that is set up survives because of the quality of leadership that is brought to bear on that organization. So we have a good chairman now who is trying to drive things to be in shape before he leaves, Governor Baseke of Edo State. In the next set of governors who are going to provide leadership every 2 years, if they go with the same zeal and drive and say, no, we've made this decision, by the time we meet, the states should have taken 1, 2, 3, or 4 steps. It will work.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for giving us this time for the interview.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to welcome you all.
Okay. And that concludes our interview today on the big segments. My name is Amma Marcus.
Occupying a political office for a 12-month period sure has a lot of achievements that accompany it, especially if there is a laid-down blueprint of development to be followed. Our next major story highlights the initiatives and projects of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moino, ahead of his 1-year anniversary in office, aligned with the Arise agenda of his administration. The report.
Mark 1-year anniversary of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moino, activities have been lined up for the anniversary. So far, these activities showcase projects and developmental drive of the state governor. In this exclusive interview with the governor's special assistant on new media, Mr. Manam Hilary Udofia shares his perspective of Governor Moino's administration so far.
Thank you for pleasure of having me on the program today. And first of all, I also need to begin from the fact that government is a continuum. An administration that is barely clocking 1 year in office didn't just exist from the moon. It took over from somebody. And when I say government is a continuum, essentially there is need for sustainability, whether you want to call it maybe consolidation. You consolidate on what the predecessor has done, and then you try to see what you can do on your own. That's doing your own bid. We all know the fact that this administration, the government of Pastor Moino, has an agenda which he calls the Arise agenda, which basically talks about agriculture, rural development, infrastructural development, security, and then the economy itself. If you look at that, so the first angle is the fact that he has been able to sustain a number of the projects he inherited from his predecessor, His Excellency Deacon Odobemano. One of those projects I know will be commissioned in just a couple of days as part of the events that is marked up to celebrate the 1 year in office. That is the Airport Road Expansion Project, which is due for commissioning. I am also aware of the fact that just last week we commissioned the Edward Road in Eket. It's about 3.3 kilometers, and that road initially was meant to be sort of a direct labor, but considering the environmental, challenge that was, affecting the area, especially as it relates flooding. So there was a need to have a sort of a flood outfall where you can control and channel the waters properly. And just at that event, the governor made further approvals for a bridge to link the Idua area with Nserubio. So those are just snipers of the things he has done.
Madam Hillary also highlighted the governor's initiatives for human development.
Majorly also in terms of what you want to talk about, human capital development, a number of initiatives that has come up with the administration. He has made an emphasis in the fact that he is a serial entrepreneur, someone who, started from the scratch and grew through the ranks. And definitely his desire is always that, you show and tell us what you can do, and the government will empower you to do them. But essentially beyond showing, there's always also the need to fine-tune to make sure that your business idea is in line with, global trends and practices. That is why he came up with what we call the BOM Leadership and Entrepreneurial Development Center. So far, just also last week or 2 weeks ago, 400 beneficiaries, were sent out with, passed the program successfully, and we're given seed grants of 500,000 naira each. That is unprecedented in the history of our state. Beyond developing infrastructures, there is also need to consciously develop our people so that the infrastructures can be put to use. It is not spirits that will use the infrastructures, it is human beings that will use the infrastructures. Then you also look at the fact that, when you create new businesses like that, it will stimulate the economy, generate more revenue for government. So the governor has said his desire is that before the end of his first term, he should be able to at least scale up the number to 5,000. And apart from that, I know that we are going to have what we call the AKK Phase 2, which is also part of the entrepreneurial development programs in synergy, whether with the federal government or other development partners. The reality of the time is that because of the hardship that is experienced as a result of the subsidy removal, there is need for government to inject some sort of funding into the system to at least support businesses, small businesses to thrive.
One sitting, you will finish this money and it won't be enough. Tighten your belts. Refuse to listen to people who tell you that you are not givers. You cannot be givers with money for business. You cannot go and be throwing money around that you have arrived. This little money is a seed, and if you nurture it well, it will bring a mighty harvest. When we started business, we used to sleep in our cars. And I remember that in this state, we opened our first hotel with just 5 rooms. And by the time I left, we are spread all over the state by the grace of God. To take you a few things to get to that level. The first thing is that you must have your determination to succeed.
On matters of accountability, the essay explained that Governor Moino has placed transparency at the forefront of his government in a bid to gain the trust of the people.
One of the programs that has demonstrated the openness of this administration is the bulk purchase agency, whether you want to like it or not. The fact that that agency initially was to purchase at least selected commodities and maybe subsidize it to people. But spontaneously, the governor during the launching said he was no longer subsidizing, that he was giving them out for free. And so the modalities is that you have to go perhaps register and be an agent, and then as you get a voucher, you go and redeem it. These are processes that before now probably could be open to selected persons. Coming to the issue of local government chairman, the directive he has given to the transition caretaker chairman to present their scorecard is not surprising, because when he came on board, he started the issue of unscheduled visits, getting to see things firsthand for himself. Those are indicators that the person, the sheriff in town, is after performance and wants to see results. And he said, gone are the days where you come and take government money and say, I have done, to this extent, and then the come approvals is made, they give you money and then nothing has been done. So what you report and what you say is not commensurate and with what is on ground. The federal government is doing its responsibility by, giving allocations. The state most times is also doing its responsibilities by ensuring that they are related to local government. But one time you find out that sometimes they don't even say in that locality that the governor has said recently that you must live in your respective domains as a chairman.
Like it is said, Rome wasn't built in a day. Expectations have been made and hopes set for development in Akwa Ibom State, even as the governor gears towards his one-year anniversary.
On our next major story, which is health-related, the media has been identified as gatekeepers and agenda setters in the fight against infodemics and misinformation to enhance the ability of the public to receive trustworthy and reliable information for social behavior change. This was made known during a review meeting organized by USAID Breakthrough Action Nigeria for media producers and executives to assess and discuss recent approaches of media coverage on health-related topics in Akwa Ibom State. For International Development, USAID, Breakthrough Action Nigeria review meeting aims to analyze how health-related information is being portrayed by the media in the state, identifying trends, evaluating accuracy on reporting, and discussing strategies for improved public health messaging and communication. The meeting also seeks to ensure effective dissemination of information to the public, as well as providing opportunities for further collaboration among health organizations and media outlets. Speaking during the meeting on the need for infodemic management in public health issues, Risk Communication Officer for Breakthrough Action Nigeria in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Indifreke Ekwenyong, stressed that adequate training be given to public communicators for the right information to be cascaded down to the public.
Filter the kind of information that you send out, if not even for the name of your organization, but even for yourself as a person, such that once any news, there are certain times that some people would also begin news. I will send it to after all so and so news station. If they send it, that means it's true. At times it might not be. Everybody could make mistakes. But for the integrity of yourself as a person who's going to have your name at the byline of that news, and for the integrity of your station, you should be conscious of whatsoever you let out there, because it can always be tracked and traced to you. And where over time, there's always this record that, most of the things you sent out are not verified, of course, in quotes.
The meeting also dwelt on plans of the state tuberculosis program towards the upcoming National Childhood Tuberculosis Testing Week, which is slated for the 27th to 31st of May this year. Speaking on the level of preparedness in the state for Childhood Tuberculosis Testing Week and the reason for concentrating on children, especially those under 5, Program Manager, Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Buruli Ulcer Control Program in the state, Dr. Basi Akpan, explained that tuberculosis in children is of great concern as the sputum required for testing is hardly produced by them.
So for our first symptoms, cough, fever, night sweat, and explain weight loss. That's general. We call them constitutional symptoms. But for other people, especially children, it's not totally this picture. Why? Because children try to build their immunity. Between the ages of 0 and 5, children don't really have what we call a strong immunity. They base on whatever the mother left up for them. After 5, the children now start to build their own immunity. So from 0 to 5, children live on borrowed immunity. That wait 5 years and gain their immunity, and that's why we are very careful about the 0 to 5. How do we diagnose it? We mainly use sputum. We mainly use that cup, Sergeant Igwe, am I talking when that cup that comes up is what is usually tested on the average. But for children, because they don't have that sensitivity, they don't have that stimulus to cough and produce that sputum. How many children can you see? How many 3 of you see cough? They can't. They swallow it. So using that, the sputum goes through the stomach. So that's why we commonly ask them to use stool for testing for their own TB. Because as it is known, not assumed, it is known that sputum is actually will be found in their stool.
On the issue of gender-responsive reporting, Director of Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Department in the state, Barrister Ete, reeled out the challenges of reporting gender-based violence as well as the successes recorded so far through the help of the media in stemming the tide on gender-based violence in the states.
We see every day, we interact with, we report in our various media outlets and all that. So we just want to what to say, what is gender responsive reporting? How does it affect, for example, the victim, how the news is written, how you say things, how you write things, how you report things, how does it affect the victim, the suspect? I'm a lawyer, let me use our legal terms and all that, because we all know that justice is a three-way traffic. Right? Justice for the victim, justice for the suspect, and then justice for society. So everything that we do affects us one way or the other, but we might think that we are just doing this for this person, but it has a ripple effect of affecting other people. We all know when a lawyer battered his wife in this town, went viral, and all that. As a result of that action, we had a spike in battery cases that time. Because one, the people thought nothing is being done by government, especially when a letter was flying everywhere that the woman had is no longer pursuing, she has forgiven the husband and all that. And so many spousal battery cases, we had a lot of reports. Because what will happen? So do you understand what media reporting can, putting things out there, in social media and other media outlets. So it has a ripple effect of now what they call the stray bullets hitting that woman in her house or hitting that man in his house just because one action happened in another place. So
earlier, coordinator for Breakthrough Action Nigeria in the state, Dr. Basi Nsa, and Social Behavior Change Officer, Mrs. Nkoyo Umo, thanks the media partners for showing up for the review meeting, commending them for their support, and urged them to continually take advantage of the organizations and the World Health Organization's enhancement courses for media partners seriously.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting. Another meeting, continuously. So I welcome you on behalf of the project director of Breakthrough Action, Dr. Shitu, the senior management team of Breakthrough Action. It's been very exciting listening to you articulate the expectations of this meeting. And I was very happy to hear all that came out. The expectation to drive sustainability, the expectations that we will learn, improve our knowledge, and I'm sure that at the end of the day here, we'll go out satisfied and we'll beat our chest that we've achieved the aim of our day.
So those things that are taught in those workshops, we bring them down here. Same facilitators, additional facilitators, same designs.
The systematic use of infodemic management and evidence-based analysis have been said to play a pivotal role in public health awareness and social behavior change. Aweroswogene Ebo, reporting for Niger Delta Today. Now moving away from our major stories for the week, let's put in the picture of recent activities across the Niger Delta region. The bill to establish a petroleum training institute in Ibeno, the host community of international oil companies, IOCs, in Akwa Ibom State, has passed its second reading in the House of Representatives. According to a statement from the media unit of member representing Eket Ona Esideket Ibno Federal Constituency, Honorable Okpolum Ete, it was noted that the bill's passage would enable the use of currently abandoned ultra-modern scale acquisition center constructed by the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. The bill, titled A Bill for an Act to Establish Petroleum Training Institute Ibno, Akwa Ibom State, seeks to provide full-time courses of instruction, training and research in petroleum technology and to produce technicians and other skilled personnel required to run the petroleum industry and related matters. Honorable Ete, who is the bill's sponsor and deputy chairman of the House Committee on University Education, stated that the legislation aims to advance the petroleum industry through technological development as well as establish a legal framework for the management and administration of the Petroleum Training Institute in Ibno. Urging support for the bill, he emphasized that the proposed institute would provide the technical knowledge needed by oil industry personnel, reducing Nigeria's dependence on foreign exports. He highlighted that the Eket Ona Esideket Ibno Federal Constituency hosts numerous IOCs, including ExxonMobil, Network Production and Exploitation Limited, Savannah Energy, Total E&F, Ondo Oil and Gas, Chevron, Universal Energy, Sterling Oil, and the ongoing BUA Petrochemical Refining Complex. Given the area's significant contribution to the national economy, establishing the Petroleum Training Institute in Ibno is both pertinent and patriotic. Honorable Ete pointed out that many IOCs still rely on expatriates for specific tasks, underscoring the need to train local personnel in modern techniques which can be achieved through specialized education. Following the debates, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, presided over the vote and approved the bill for a second reading, referring it to the House Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream for further consideration. And away from that, the Obong of Calabar, Edidem Epo Okonabasi Otu V, has appealed to the federal government to engage more contractors to handle the Calabar-Lagos Highway project to ensure prompt completion. Advisory Council and Executive Arm of the Palace of the Obong of Calabar Executive Forum, OCEF, made this known during a media conference held on behalf of the Obong. The OCEF called on the federal government to commence the construction of the Calabar-Lagos Highway with many contractors simultaneously, saying it would condense the time for the project delivery. According to the forum, many contractors commencing the job simultaneously will help reduce risk associated with inflation. Appealing further, the forum urged the federal government to engage many engineers and competent road construction contractors for the project. They commended the President Tinubu-led administration, describing the project as the single largest ever infrastructure project in Nigeria. According to the chairman of the OCEF, MF Arugashan Henshaw, the Coastal Highway is a strategic national infrastructure project that will transform the economic landscape of the 9 states it traverses. They also urged the government to complete the Adiabo Bridge, initiated by the late General Sani Abacha's administration to connect the state of Akwa Ibom. They maintain that the project is over 70% complete and should not be neglected, emphasizing the importance of the East-West Road as it will significantly impact the South-South region of the country. And to Delta State, the Delta State Police Command says it has arrested suspects involved in kidnapping, robbery, and cultism. Spokesperson of the command, SP Edafe Bright, who made this known in a statement, said 3 suspects, Yakubu Yo, 20, Musa Yakubu, age 25, and the Cameroonian Abdullahi Muhammad, age 38, were arrested for kidnappings in some parts of the state. He added that 20-year-old Yakubu, who resides in Kaduna, is suspected to be involved in kidnapping activities along Warri axis of the state and Oha communities of Okwe local government area. SP Edafe stated that following combined effort from police of the command and Force Intelligence Unit Abuja, the DPO in Ororokwe, CSP Paul Oboware, immediately rallied and led his team to Yakubu's hideout in Warri which led to his arrest. Initial investigation and interrogation led to the arrest of 2 gang members, Musa Yakubu and Abdullahi Mohammed, where the victims identified as suspects, who then led detectives to hidden weapons in Ugwagwa community. Investigations are ongoing with relentless effort to arrest other gang members. In addition, Michael Udo was arrested by Ozoro Divisional Police Command with a locally made revolver and 2 live cartridges found in his house. While in Obiaruku area of the state, Chinedu Okolo was arrested after a distress call about forced court initiation was made. A locally made double-barreled pistol and victim stolen phones were recovered. Meanwhile, the Delta State Police Command has alerted of ongoing efforts to apprehend other fleeing suspects. The people of Omerelu community in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State have celebrated the inauguration of hybrid solar-powered streetlights installed by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. As part of its Operation Light Up Niger Delta project, the NDDC provided solar power to alleviate the once darkness-ridden Omekpi Omerelu community. During the project's unveiling, the community, including the Council of Chiefs, CDC, Women's Group, Youth Group, and others, gathered in large numbers with various traditional musical groups showcasing their dance skills in jubilation. Inaugurating the project, the State Rivers representative on the NDDC board, Mr. Tony Okocha, stated that it will provide economic benefits, reduce criminal activities, and enhance the community's nighttime aesthetics. Mr. Okocha also expressed gratitude to the NDDC board and management, led by Mr. Chiedu Epie and Dr. Samuel Obuku, for transforming NDDC from a cash cow to a dynamic interventionist agency, bringing valuable projects to people of the Niger Delta region. He also thanks the community for their hospitality and support, which enabled the project's timely completion. In appreciation, Chairman of the Omerelu Council of Chiefs, Chief L.O. Didia, thanked the NDDC board, especially the Rivers State representative, for bringing the project to the community. He also thanked Dr. Anosike Odwa for attracting the project to their area. Meanwhile, the Commission has also announced that communities across the 4 Niger Delta states have donated land for the agricultural component of its Holistic Opportunities for Programs and Engagement Project HOPE. Speaking at the onboarding exercise at NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt, Managing Director of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Obuku, said the engagement with communities in Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Imo, and Rivers State was preparatory to the second phase of Project HOPE, set to begin in June. Dr. Obuku explained that Project HOPE, inspired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed HOPE agenda, aims to develop a comprehensive digital repository with information about the youth of the Niger Delta, including their qualifications, skills, interests, needs, and employment status. The database will enable data-driven planning and the creation of impactful policies and programs targeting the Niger Delta youth. And away from that, the Ijaw Integrity Group, IIG, has urged the military to withdraw its troops from Iboromotu town in southern Ijaw local government area of Bayelsa State. Chairman of the group, High Chief Walter Moniman, called for the withdrawal while reacting to news of some soldiers leaving Okwama, the site of the attack of the military personnel. You would recall that soldiers had invaded Iboromotu in search of the suspected masterminds behind the killing of 4 army officers and 13 soldiers in Okwama community of Delta State on March 14, 2024. The High Chief praised the military for withdrawing from Okwama, noting that the action reduced tension in the area. He argued that the withdrawal should be extended to Iboromotu, which has no connection to Okwama. High Chief Moniman pointed out that the people of Iboromotu have suffered significantly due to the military presence, as they live in fear of reprisal amid soldiers' search for the Okwama suspects. He stressed that the withdrawal would restore normalcy, allowing children to attend school without fear of armed soldiers. He further advised the military to conduct future operations professionally and with consideration for innocent citizens to prevent unnecessary harm. The Bayelsa High Chief also encouraged the residents of Igboromotu to remain peaceful, law-abiding and respectful of authorities to maintain peace in the community. And on to education matters, the Delta State government has said demolition of illegal structures on land belonging to Dennis Osadebe University, Alwine in Asaba, is not targeted at any individual or person, but aimed at recovering the institution's land. Chairman State Task Force on Recovery and Government Lands in Delta State, Chief Frank Omare, who stated this in Asaba, said the briefing became necessary following widespread condemnation of the demolition of buildings at Musa Camp within the confines of the university's land. The task force chairman said Governor of the state, Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, constituted the team to recover all government lands across the state, adding that land grabbers were making a fortune from swindling unsuspecting members of the public with illegal land sales. He recalled that a few months ago, Governor Oborewori put together teams to look into all government lands in Delta State and work on their recovery for the state government. He therefore refuted claims of oppression by the governor on land encroachers. And to a very important cultural activity, 16th of May every year is set aside across Ijaw Nation as Boro Day. It's a day to reflect on the struggle and achievements of the man the Ijaw said brought liberation to Ijaw land. At the 2024 Boro Day celebration in Yenagoa, some Ijaw youth harped on the need to deviate from the armed struggle to that of an intellectual one. Let's join Reed Joshua for the reports.
Boro was born on September 10, 1938.
It's been 56 years since the passing of late Major Isaac Adakaboro, who died in the struggle to liberate the Niger Delta region. Therefore, Boro Day is marked every year in commemoration of Major Isaac Adakaboro, a foremost Ijaw freedom fighter who on the 23rd February 1966 fought and declared the Niger Delta Republic. But that rebellion was quashed by the superior powers of Nigerian army. Many believe that the era of armed struggle is fading away as the society is changing. Hence, the Bayelsa State government tagged the theme for the 2024 Boro Day celebration as Adakaboro and a just struggle for self-actualization, defining new methods. This year, the sons and daughters of Ijaw Nation have called for a new method of self-actualization instead of taking up arms. Statesman Timi Ogoriba, while speaking during the 2024 Boro Day celebration in Yenagoa, said the struggle has shifted from arms to intellectual.
We want to plead that a lot more should toe his lines. And before you toe his line, you have to know who he was, his character. He was selfless. He was not self-centered. They bribed him. He didn't take money. So you must make sure that those qualities he exhibited, you should imbibe them. Now we have cultism, we have drug addiction. Those things do not help. They are vices, and we do not want those kind of things to be part of our system.
Gone are those days we are using the sword and the gun to fight. Now this time it's intellectual. It's a fight to fight with the brain and not with the gun. And I told them, say the pen is always mightier than the sword. And right now it is time for us to use the pen to engage the Niger Delta and tell them that we, the Niger Delta people, we have something that the Nigerian government needs to cooperate with us and give us what we need.
Boro stood for justice for the Niger Delta people. After going through oppression from the Nigerian state, he felt there is need for us to have a unifying voice to speak to liberate the Niger Delta people. Looking at it, that what if fought for, though we are still experiencing some of it, which is the environmental degradation, the pollution in our region. Well, the question is, after the death of Boro, 56 years after the death of Boro, do we still have these challenges? The answer is yes.
Some Ijaw youths, under the aegis of Movement for the Survival of the Ezon Ethnic Nationality, MOSIEND, and the Ijaw Youth Council, IYC, while remembering the day, urge the federal government to address pending issues of underdevelopment, which Boro sought to address.
That's why the Ijaw Youth Council are saying that we are going to be changing approach, to this fight. We are going to be engaging government, and we are going to be preaching, and agitating for true federalism, that the people should manage our resources. Of course, you could see that the recent unconditional cash transfer of 50,000 naira to individual to SMEs. The people that benefited from the Ijaw territory are less than 15%, because people in the creek are still marginalized. So the story of marginalization is still there. The history of marginalization is still there. That is why we are going to be engaging government.
Boro, regarded as an Ijaw hero by his kinsmen, is remembered for his exploits and attempts to liberate the Ijaw people, and later his struggle to seek a better deal for his people from international oil companies.
On entertainment, Warri-born singer Orishifemi has come forward to say he once housed Afrobeat and Grammy Award winner Burna Boy when he had a tiff with his mom, Mrs. Bose Ogulu. The Warri Afrobeat singer said amid Burna Boy's complaints, he assured him of being a great musical artist and a sought after as he offered him a roof over his head. You would recall that Burna Boy had earlier sacked his mom as his manager back in 2014 after their disagreements. But as the saying goes, blood is thicker than water. Madam Bose had again in 2017 resumed as her son's manager. And in the world of sports, Federal University of Technology, Ikoda-Basi, is set to hold its maiden edition of the Vice Chancellor's Cup competition. The competition is aimed at boosting academic excellence and extracurricular activities on campus through physical, social, and mental fitness infrastructure needed by both students and staff for accelerated teaching and learning process. The future Vice Chancellor Cup aims to also discover and showcase young talents in the institution. The competition is scheduled to commence from 20th to 24th May 2024. We now take a short break, and when we return, we'll bring you our big story for today. Don't go away.
Ready for some exciting news? ADBN just launched its very own WhatsApp channel. Join our community for exclusive updates straight to your phones. Here's how. Open your WhatsApp and go to the Updates tab. Tap the plus icon and select Find Channel. Search for ADBN TV and hit follow. Don't forget to turn on notifications for the latest updates. Your support means the world to us, because at Advocate Broadcasting Network, we're not just a media outlet, we're a part of you.
You're welcome to the Big Story segments of the program, and thanks for staying tuned. On our big story today, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, as part of his activities to mark his 1 year in office, has commissioned the remodeled Christ the King School in Uyo, as well as a health center in Ikonukwo, Ibesikwo, a Sultan local government area of the state. This infrastructure will serve as a model and guideline for other state-owned primary schools and health facilities in the state.
The model primary healthcare center came about after the governor, Pastor Moino, visited the makeshift health clinic at the Village Council Hall of Ikotunko in Ibesikwo Sultan local government area of the state on August 2023. Pastor Moino said the model primary healthcare was built in accordance with the specifications of the World Health Organization and expressed satisfaction at the prompt delivery of the facility, while commending Ikotunko community for keying into his Arise Agenda policy with land donation for the project.
I was also impressed that the community was kind enough to give out their community hall to be used as a health post. But impressed by how well the record of parents and procedures were kept by the matron, we requested for a land from the community. And that's where I want to thank the village head and all members of his community. They came here, donated a land to the government that same day. They never asked for any compensation. They just gave that land. And that inspired me that this is a community that wants development. Government cannot be bringing development to your community and then you are making it very impossible. This village head gave that land.
The Commissioner for Health, Professor Augustine Moore, while giving overview of the project, said the modern healthcare center has maternity sections, immunization, nutrition, delivery room, both male and female wards, as well as antenatal clinic and doctors' consulting rooms, among other state-of-the-art facilities.
Meet the capability to be able to give us and provide promotive care, palliative care, rehabilitative care, preventive care in this facility. A model health center must be one to provide all this. And what we have here meet all these criteria.
Stakeholders in the local government area, including the Commissioner for Finance, Dr. Linus Nkan, Transition Chairman, Ibesikpo Sultan Local Government Area, Mrs. Akon Michael, spoke glowingly on Pastor Eno's developmental milestones in the state.
Your Excellency, the Ibesikpo Sultan people have where they should have sustainable health so that they can embark on agriculture. Your Excellency, why this is even developed? There's a market opposite here.
This kind of a structure, I used to see it in Abuja and Lagos. It is in Ibesikpo Sultan. When I came here yesterday night to see what is inside this place, oh, I wish I should be pregnant that night.
Emmanuel Silas Umoino, while commissioning the remodeled school project awarded to U&K Company 9 months ago, called on companies and well-meaning individuals to, as part of their corporate social responsibilities, adopt the renovation of public schools to ensure education for all, and directed the retraining of teachers. Pastor now appealed to communities to safeguard against vandalization of facilities in their domains by hoodlums, and urged the local government administrations to provide basic amenities at the grassroots level, and announced the appointment of personal aides on school monitoring team, as well as payment of wardrobe allowances to public school teachers.
To say that these schools are meant to provide the convenience for our children. This school environment will inspire any child to come to school. And we please appeal to the community to allow this to remain a school. We don't want community to turn this to a community football field. We don't want community to come here and ask for any room to keep church. The headmistress in the 2 schools and in all the schools we are building must understand that we want this school to remain for our children. And we are providing security. We are making sure that the asset management and maintenance agency, I just named the chairman a while ago, will take charge of maintaining these schools.
The Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Idong Sedetiebet, said the remodeled school has 19 classrooms with 5 staff quarters, solar lights, borehole, a library, sporting facility, an ICT center, and other facilities suitable for academic excellence.
This edifice boasts of 19 classrooms, fully furnished with modern technology, modern teaching aids. Your Excellency, thank you.
The chairman of Uyo Local Government Transition Committee, Dr. Wemedi Modo, and other stakeholders from the area appreciated the governor, Pastor Moino, for translating the Arise agenda in education sector into reality, as shown in the completion of the Christ the King Model Primary School, government's modeled primary school at Ewet of Fort in Uyo Local Government area, as well as other life-touching projects.
We are filled with joy and happiness that you have translated the Arise agenda of your administration in the area of education into concrete reality. Your Excellency, our people are happy because Uyo is the first local government area in Akwa Ibom State to have this model primary school.
Emmanuel Silas, ADB.
And with that report, we've come to the end of today's edition of Across the Niger Delta. Do stay with us for a fresh edition tomorrow, same time. But till we come your way again, I am Awe Ruswagene Ebo. Bye for now.